I'm Jessica Welman, editor of SBC America's Canadian Gaming Business, talking here today with Sim Bielak, President of Suzohapp. Welcome to, well, I guess you should say welcome to me. We're on your home turf, aren't we?
Yes, it's my home grounds, Toronto. Live a little north of the city. Thank you for having me.
Yes, well, I would love to talk today about a generation that I personally have struggled to kind of figure out and understand, which is Gen Z. So just to start broadly, when it comes to general trends about what Gen Z people in general are looking for and want that may be different than what previous generations have been looking for, what have you seen?
Sure, for us, because we're focused mainly on the hardware side, land-based business, we service the casino market, slot machines, and we also play in the space of sports betting. We were a hardware provider to a lot of the sports books. And at the end of the day, the Gen Z, if we actually go with the full terminology, is Zoomer, right? And where does Zoomer come from? It's their ability to adapt to any source of media. So they're very digital orientated. So I think irrelevant of what your product offering is, it really needs to be a seamless experience and frictionless, because that's what they're used to.
Absolutely. So, I mean, when you're talking about land-based in general, I mean, I guess the thought is that the traditional land-based experience just doesn't appeal to Gen Z. Is that true, or is it more complicated?
I think portions of it does. So I think the areas where we're seeing some adoption is obviously with sports betting, iGaming. And then on the land-based side, we're seeing a little more adoption on the ETG, the electronic table games, where it's a little more familiar to them versus going up to a slot machine that has a few buttons and a handle. They can sit down to something that looks very similar to a PC, and they can touch the screen, place their bets, and interact also in a social environment. That's very important for the Gen Z, is their social environment. They can play an ETG in a community, whereas with a slot machine, it tends to be a little bit more of a singular play. So I think if we really look at, I commented on this earlier and sitting on one of the panels, is everyone's so focused on Gen Z and millennials. I think we need to work with all aspects of the industry, the manufacturers, the operators, to really help facilitate the natural progression and growth in the technology and product offering, moving from, let's say, your baby boomers, then over to your Gen X, which I'm a part of, and then into your millennials and Gen Z. So I don't think it's kind of a switch. What do we do to get the Gen Zs in? It's kind of, what's the natural technological roadmap look like?
Yeah, we were talking about this on my panel a bit, that Tony from Pichu Gaming was like, in a certain number of years, Gen Z, what the kinds of games that they want aren't even going to look like slot machines.
Correct.
But how do you then balance your base with also innovating? How do you make those determinations?
So I think if we're talking about generations, right? So I think that gives you some concept of what this transition should look like, right? It's not a switch. So we're talking about generations. So I think over a extended period of time, we'll see the natural progression of the technology. The technology is there today. That's the great part. So if you really wanted to create an environment in a casino that was familiar to a Gen Z, you could tomorrow. But then you're going to lose a portion of your customer base. So I think you'll see a natural technological evolution over time, because if you look at somebody like in my generation, we know about an arcade game. We went and put quarters in and picked the game we wanted to play, right? And you look at the Gen Z generation, they don't even know, in most cases, where arcade game is unless we took the Dave & Buster's for entertainment. They're used to getting onto a console or a PC and picking what they want to play. So I think it has to be, a view to the future that, irrelevant of how they're going to play, whether that's on a home PC or they're going to play on their mobile or in a casino, it has to be presented to them in the fashion that they're used to.
Being the hardware provider, they're especially used to, Gen Z, I'm just going to go on my phone, I'm going to go in the store, and I'm going to get whatever I want to this piece of hardware right now. So how do you replicate that experience in a regulated environment where you can't have 8,000 games in a cabinet?
We're kind of on the forefront of those discussions because we have customers who are both operators and manufacturers. And we're kind of sitting in the middle. listening to both sides of the group. And also we're starting to put our ear a little bit to esports. That's up and coming, and the demographics of the gamer market is much greater. So I think the way we have to start thinking about this is it's no longer about just your traditional slot machine gaming, but more of a gaming experience encompassing gaming as in PC gaming complete. So this is another form of entertainment. And I think the technology's there. We need to get the regulators there. And then I think naturally, if you look at the traditional slot machine business as it is today, it's not really sustainable long term. So if you look at what an operator does and what a manufacturer does, at the end of the day, they want to make sure that they're all running as profitable, successful businesses. So I think there's an opportunity there to help them bridge the gap between the hardware side, the operator side, and to come in with a solution that could create a really digital experience.
And that experience, it's not just the games, right? Like, it's a different approach to payments, to loyalty,
it has to be
everything.
A digital experience. It's not just a game. It's exactly that. It's an experience, right? Because if we look at your millennials and Gen Zs, that's what they're looking for, is an experience. They're not looking to play a game, right? And the more people they can experience that with, even better. But what they don't want is you to tell them, oh yeah, you want to play Buffalo? Go and find the game. No, I'm here. You show me what I like to play. And that's their expectation, and we will get there. But again, it has to be a natural progression.
Yeah, one of my younger colleagues, we were in Vegas for G2E, and he sits down at a blackjack table, takes out his phone and is like, Apple Pay? And being told, like, no, actually, like, you need cold hard cash.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, how long till we're just fully cashless, do you think?
I don't think cash will ever go away. It's part of my background. I was in that space previously. Cash will always exist, but it'll become a smaller percentage of the overall handle. And as you get into the younger generations, it'll become more and more acceptable and normalized to accept cashless forms of payment. And a lot of the regulators are a little bit apprehensive about it, but there is also a benefit to it as well, is you can have greater transparency with cashless, and on top of it, you can also control. If you have responsible gaming, you could block certain players out from playing, whereas with cash, you really can't. It's anonymous. But it'll always be a percentage of the overall revenue. So I think you'll see, as we talked earlier, a natural migration as the technology gets adopted. Even in the casinos today, there's probably already, let's say 50 to 100,000 machines that are already adopted with cashless, but it's not the norm today, and it differs jurisdiction to jurisdiction.
And like you said before, it's an incremental thing. It's not like one day just cash isn't going to be available.
Cash is never going to disappear. But as a percentage overall, whether that's in retail or casinos, it'll just become a smaller percentage of the overall handle.
All right, well, this has been super informative. Two Gen Xers talking about
Exactly.
Gen Z. But no, it was really great insight. So thank you so much.
Thank you.